Before we continue, I just want to say thank you. Our first Minecraft video was actually watched by people from different countries. That honestly surprised me. And I also received some interesting feedback. One person said the story sounded a little too much like AI. At first, I didn't really know how to feel because the story was real. The motion sickness, my wife playing Minecraft, everything actually happened. The only reason I use an AI voice is because English isn't my first language. I wanted more people to understand my videos. But after thinking about that comment, I realized something. Maybe people don't need a perfect story. Maybe they just want a real one. So, I'm not going to overthink this video. I'm just going to share whatever comes to mind, while my wife continues trying to survive in Minecraft. And trust me, she still has absolutely no idea what she's doing. Actually, neither do I. I'm just the guy sitting beside her, watching, laughing, and occasionally giving terrible advice. Anyway, let's see what happens today. As usual, I'm just sitting here beside my wife, watching her play. Well, not the whole time. Minecraft still makes me feel motion sick if I stare at the screen for too long. I don't know why. It's always games like this. Does anyone else experience that? Or is it just us? Anyway, she's still trying to figure everything out. No guides, no tutorials, just let's see what happens. Right now, she's breaking every block she can find. If it can be punched, she's probably going to punch it. Honestly, at this point, we're just collecting random things and hoping they'll become useful later. Then, she suddenly heard something. It sounded like a monster. A second later, she screamed. Turns out, it was a zombie. She started swinging her wooden sword everywhere. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting beside her, trying not to laugh. She was already digging before that. She kept stopping every few seconds, listening, waiting, trying to figure out if anything was coming. Honestly, I was getting nervous too. Neither of us knew what was going to happen next. After a while, everything became quiet. She stayed where she was, still holding her wooden sword, just listening. Then, she slowly tried to look up, very carefully. She peeked outside for a second, then immediately went back down. Nope, not yet. She wasn't ready. A little later, she tried again. She gathered enough courage to peek outside one more time. The moment she saw the zombie, she ran straight back into the hole. I couldn't stop laughing. The zombie got stuck. 3 hits. No damage. She kept swinging her wooden sword, little by little, until finally, the zombie was defeated. Honestly, that was a pretty good zombie fight, even if it wasn't exactly planned. After that, she finally opened her inventory. Then we both started thinking, what can we actually make? There were so many items, so many icons, and honestly, we didn't know what most of them were. We were just looking around, trying to figure things out. Then, before we even realized it, it was already morning. Perfect timing. It was finally safe to explore again. Well, if you can even call it exploring. She didn't really know where she wanted to go. She was just walking around, looking at everything, stopping every few seconds, trying to decide where to go next. I think that's how most beginners play Minecraft. No real plan, just curiosity. Then
she spotted something green. At first, neither of us thought much about it. Then suddenly, boom! Both of us jumped. Her health almost disappeared. We were both like, what was that? Apparently, that thing explodes. We honestly thought it was just another monster. Lesson learned. Don't get too close to the green ones. A little later, she picked up a chicken egg. Wait, chickens actually lay eggs in Minecraft? I didn't know that. She didn't know that either. We had no idea. So, of course, we picked it up anyway. That's basically our strategy right now. If we find something, we collect it first. We'll figure out what it does later. After that, she went back to punching trees. More wood, more leaves, pretty much everything. Honestly, watching someone punch trees for this long is strangely relaxing. Maybe it's just me. Or maybe breaking blocks is actually a good way to relieve stress. Even I started thinking, I kind of want to try. Then I remembered motion sickness. Maybe another day. A little later, she found a river. Now came the next problem. How do we get across? She was worried about drowning, so she looked around for another way. Then changed her mind and went back to collecting wood instead. A few moments later, she accidentally slipped into the water. For a second, she started panicking, but thankfully, she managed to climb back out. Crisis avoided. At least this time. She stood there again, looking across the river, still thinking about crossing. Then she noticed something interesting. She said, "Look, there's floating fire." I looked too. Then I noticed the lava nearby. I said, "Maybe it's coming from the lava?" Of course, that made her curious. She walked closer. She wanted to collect the stone beside it. I told her, "Be careful." A few seconds later, she slipped straight into the lava. And just like that, our first lava death. That happened a lot faster than I expected. After respawning, she had no idea where to go. Everything looked different again. So, she just started walking. Luckily, she found the area where she had been digging earlier. The place she was originally thinking about turning into her first base. She looked around, hoping some of her items were still there. But they didn't look like it. So, back to punching trees. Again, I guess that's becoming our solution for everything. At this point, she's probably collected enough wood for a small forest. Somehow, punching trees in Minecraft is actually relaxing. I don't know why. Maybe it's the sound. Maybe it's just satisfying. Or maybe we're just happy doing something simple while trying to figure the game out. After a while, she stopped again. You could almost see her thinking. Should I stay here? This was my first digging area. Maybe this should become my base? Honestly, that didn't sound like a bad idea. While looking around, she noticed some coal nearby. At least, I think it was coal. We're still trying to remember all these names. She remembered using it earlier to make light. So she collected a little more. Then it was back to punching trees. More wood, more leaves, more random materials. I still have no idea what's important, so I'm just watching her collect everything. After collecting more materials, she walked back to what I think is called the crafting table. I think that's the name. She walked up to it, tried opening it, but nothing happened. She looked confused. Then she asked me, "What do I do?" I honestly had no idea, so I just guessed. Maybe try getting a little closer? I'm not even sure if that was the right answer. We're both beginners. I'm just making random suggestions. Sometimes they work, sometimes not so much. Before we knew it, it was nighttime again, and we still didn't have a proper house. So back to digging. Again. The goal this time was to make another light source. She started looking through her materials, trying to remember what she needed. Little by little, everything finally came together. Then, success! She finally made one. Wait, was that a furnace or something else? Honestly, I'm still not sure. If I get the names wrong, please forgive me. We're still learning. Now that she had some light again, she continued digging. This time, things felt a little faster. She already had a pickaxe. And compared to before, breaking blocks was much easier. Then I remembered the black blocks. Wait, what's the name again? Oh, coal. See? I'm still forgetting things. Sorry about that. I'm sure after a few more videos, I'll finally remember all these names. A little later, she heard another monster. She immediately stopped digging, looked around, and started listening again. Now that she had some stone tools, you could actually see her getting a little more confident. She was mining faster, moving around more. I think, without realizing it, she was slowly learning. Not because someone taught her, but because she kept trying, one small step at a time. After digging for a while, she started looking through her materials again. This time, I think she wanted to make a better sword. But she still didn't have everything she needed. So she decided to take another look outside, still holding her wooden sword. She slowly climbed up, and that's when she saw them. 2 green monsters. She took a few steps, trying to watch both of them at the same time. Then she looked away for just a second. Before she even had time to react, boom! She died. Again. After respawning, one thing immediately came to mind. Wait, do you lose all your items when you die? Because if you do, that's painful. All that mining, all those materials, gone. Well, I guess that's part of learning Minecraft. Sometimes you make progress, sometimes a creeper reminds you who's in charge. But honestly, neither of us got frustrated. If anything, we just laughed about it. That's probably the best part of playing together. Every mistake becomes another funny memory. So, that's where we'll stop for today. We still don't have a proper house. We still forget the names of the items. And we're still learning something new every time we play. But somehow, that makes Minecraft even more fun. If you're a Minecraft veteran, please don't judge us too much. Feel free to leave some beginner tips in the comments. Just maybe don't tell us everything. Half the fun is figuring things out ourselves. If you enjoyed watching 2 complete beginners learn Minecraft, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. There are definitely going to be more funny moments, more mistakes, and probably a lot more unexpected deaths. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next adventure. Bye.